So you've been hiking for a while or even doing some rock climbing already, but now you've decided you want to go for the big mountains. Well, if you've never done it before, you're probably wondering what kind of gear you should buy or borrow, or maybe just use some of the stuff that you already have. In this video, I'll go through the gear that I used in my first mountaineering experience in the Alps, where I climbed the Sustenhorn, which sits just above 3,500 meters, and that requires crossing a pretty big glacier to get up there. Well, of course, you could use less stuff and even climb the mountain barefoot, or you could hire a couple of people just to bring your gear up the mountain. I'm gonna give you a budget-sensitive list of equipment, briefly covering the obvious stuff, but also I wanna highlight a couple of pieces of gear that may seem unnecessary, but they're actually quite important for your safety up there. Hello everyone, and welcome to video number 2 about my first alpine experience. Video number 1, I covered 3 important tips for your planning and logistics when you're doing your mountaineering experience in the Alps. If you missed it, make sure you click the link in the description below, or at the end of the video, I'm also going to leave the little box with the link for you to watch it. If you want to stay tuned for the next videos coming up, then make sure you subscribe to the channel, clicking somewhere down there just below the video. So today the topic is gear, which is one of my favorite topics. And of course, we could go into every single piece of gear and clothing and all those details about what you need to actually go to the mountain. I won't really do that because most of the stuff you probably already know. I'll just focus on the new piece of equipment that you probably don't have if you have never been in a high mountain or, in an alpine environment overall. So this is the list that I'll cover. Backpack, mountaineering boots, crampons, gaiters, harness, carabiners, slings, cord, and all the crevasse rescue gear, ice axe, hiking poles, helmet, and some other important or interesting miscellaneous items. So first, the backpack. What you need is a 35 to 45 liter backpack, water resistant, of course, that also has, very importantly, a waist strap and a chest strap. I used this one from Deuter. It's pretty good. Again, what's important is this waist strap and the chest strap. What's also handy is that it has some sort of support for you to carry your ice axe or your hiking poles. So, there's these elastic bands in here and these things over here that you can actually put your ice axe through and hold it together in your backpack when you are using it to go up the mountain. So that's pretty much it. You don't need to overcomplicate this. Backpack is a backpack. Just make sure you have those couple of things in your backpack and you should be fine. Second, the mountaineering boots. And this is actually an important topic because you know what? Your hiking shoes are not gonna cut it. You definitely need to invest some money in some mountaineering boots. It doesn't mean that you have to go crazy and spend 600 or 1,000 euros in your boots. You can definitely find something cheaper. Couple of things to keep in mind. They gotta be, of course, waterproof. You're gonna be going through the ice and you don't wanna get your feet wet. And they can actually be, let's say, 4 seasons or 3 seasons as they call it, which just what changes is just the level of insulation that it offers. I didn't want to spend a lot of money and get, let's say, a 4-season mountaineering boot. So I got these pair over here from Mammut. They cost me maybe 200 bucks, which I think it's a lot already. but they are Gore-Tex, so they are waterproof. They are crampon compatible. This is something that you got to take a look at. You know, here in the heel, you're gonna have this little edge. That's where your crampons are gonna fit. And overall, you know, the quality of the rubber and the overall build of the boots are something that you need to be aware of. Definitely try them on before buying. You know, these sizes, they are not the same sizes as your running shoes. So put them on your feet, stand up, you know, with your feet pointing down to see if your toes are not hitting the end of the boot too much. That can be very painful on long descents. And yeah, just make sure they're comfortable and break them in before you actually go in a big mountaineering trip. That's it for the mountaineering boots. So now crampons. There are a ton of different crampons, but the most important thing, they gotta fit your boots, right? If your boots are crampon compatible, as I mentioned, the little edge, then you can buy crampons that have this little thing here in the back, where this is actually gonna fit right in that ledge. I got these ones from Saliwa, and they're pretty good. And they're pretty cheap compared to Black Diamond or Petzl stuff. Basically, you can choose between stainless steel or aluminum. The aluminum ones are definitely less resistant, so they're gonna wear out if you wear them going up rocky terrain. There isn't really a difference of price. The aluminum ones are just lighter to carry, which is not that big of a difference. You know, you're carrying just a bunch of stuff. This is not really gonna make or break your backpack weight, unless you are, I don't know, some sort of professional breaking records going up the mountain, which is not the case if you're going in the mountain for the first time, right? All right, so that's it about crampons. Try them on with your boot, and they make sure to that they're pretty snug in there, because you don't want to be, you know, adjusting them all the time when you're up there traversing the glacier. That's it. Now harness. You could definitely go with your regular climbing harness. You know, this is the big one that I usually use for rock climbing in general. It is important though that it has, let's say, adjustable leg straps. But you could also get, let's say, a proper mountaineering or touring harness, which is gonna be way smaller for you to carry in your backpack. So this is just for comparison, you know, regular climbing harness, mountaineering harness. They're both just as safe, but the difference is just that the build of this one is much lighter, and it doesn't have, let's say, as much comfort as the rock climbing one has. But you don't really need that, because you're going to be walking with your harness most of the time. You're not going to be hanging from it like you usually do when you're rock climbing. So carabiners, slings, and all that kind of stuff. I definitely advise you to bring a belay device, so an ATC with a carabiner, an HMS carabiner, so a big one, pear-shaped, and a couple of screw carabiners as well. Then the slings, you should definitely bring a 60 centimeter, 80, 120, grab a bunch of these slings. Also some cord for you to do prusiks for self-rescue. You should definitely have a couple of loops, then 1 meter, 2 meter, and 4 meter pieces of cord with you. I won't go into a lot of detail on that, and that's why I'm just going through it, because, you know, you should definitely know how to use it. It's no point on bringing all these devices if you have never done self-rescue or crevasse rescue practice before. You should definitely find a guide or someone to teach you how to do that, and then you're gonna get into details of what exactly you're carrying for what. Other than that, I mean, there's really no point in going in detail on that part of the equipment. Just know that you gotta buy those kinds of stuff, and they are not very expensive, I guess, when you compare to the rest of the stuff. So it should be fine. So gaiters, and this is an item that I totally underestimated before. You know, the gaiters are basically some protection that you put in your legs. This goes just below your shoes, and they're just, you know, bridging the gap between your boots and your pants. But they're actually doing more than that. They're just not preventing, you know, snow falling inside your boot. They're actually protecting your legs from the crampons. Yes, I mean, you're not kicking your legs all the time when you're walking on the street, right? But when you're progressing on ice or snow, it can be pretty steep. You can lose your balance, hit one of your legs with your other foot, and these things they're definitely gonna save you from having, major problems with your crampons. The second time that I used them, the first time I said, yeah, these things are useless, but now the second time, you can see it in here. Yeah, this is where I hit with the crampons. And these things, they're pretty sturdy, they're Gore-Tex and they're very sturdy. These are definitely for mountaineering. And still, I just hit them once with my crampons, and look at this. So if this happens and you have no protection for your legs, then you're looking at a serious injury for, just a stupid reason. Maybe you want to invest some money in getting some sturdy ones so you actually protect your legs from the crampons. Definitely underestimated one. All right, so ice axe. Ice axe definitely required for mountaineering. There's a difference you got to keep in mind. There's ice climbing axes and regular ice axes for mountaineering. The difference, I'm gonna put a picture here maybe of ice climbing axe so you can see the difference. This one basically has a straight shift here, and you're gonna use it in your hand like this most of the time when you're walking. They're gonna help you keep your balance, but also when it gets steeper, then you can use really the axe to help you progress when in the ice or in the snow. Must have, you might not use it depending on the route very much, but you need to have it basically for your safety. If you slip and fall and you have these in your hand, then you can self-arrest, and that can probably save your life if you're hiking or if you're climbing by yourself. If you're with a group, then it's definitely making the life of the group easier, so you don't actually fall in the crevasse and they have to get you out of there. So yeah, ice axe is a requirement for mountaineering or climbing high mountains. Then hiking poles, which, they may be, let's say, not critical. It's important to have them, for me at least, especially for the descent. Depending on how long it is, it can be very tough on your knees. Using these can relieve a lot of the pressure or the effort on your knees when you're going down, especially when the terrain is a little bit slippery or the snow is a little bit loose or kind of sliding. That's gonna put a lot of strain in your knees. I don't know, if you twist an ankle or something, they can help you out a lot to progress in the terrain before you can actually stop. Okay, finally, helmet. I mean, this thing is so much underrated for so many people, and I don't really understand why. These things today, they're very light. They're not really a burden. And this is the type of the thing that you don't really feel like you need it until you really need it. That's when you fall and you hit your head. And most of the time you're going to be wearing this and they're not going to be used because you won't be hitting your head all the time. Well, hopefully, in these environments, you just cannot risk having a head injury or a head trauma in the middle of nowhere where there is really no feasible rescue in a short time. So yeah, make sure you have your helmet, and just buy a climbing helmet, whatever. It's gonna help you rock climbing or mountaineering or doing whatever you want to do. So helmet is a must. Finally, some miscellaneous items. Starting with the most important one if you're climbing an ice-covered mountain, which are the sunglasses. Do not underestimate the need for sunglasses. You can actually go snow blind if you spend a lot of time with the glare of the white snow and the sun reflecting on the snow. You don't feel it, and then after a while you just go snow blind, which is crazy. I don't even know how that works physiologically, but it does happen and is a real thing. Besides that, headlamp as well. Early starts in the mountain, 6 a.m. It's still dark out there. You need a headlamp just to navigate a little bit in the beginning. A neck gaiter, I think it's something quite useful. It gets very windy up the mountain. This you can just slip and it can help you protect your face. As you can see, you can just wear it like this, and yeah, that's all the good stuff. And a knife, always carry a knife for emergency. You want to cut a piece of the rope, you want to cut a part of your backpack or whatever and use it to repair something. I don't know, just carry a knife with you. It's always very helpful. Wow, that was a lot to cover in one video. If you have any questions or comments or other pieces of gear that you actually think are needed, or maybe some that I said are not needed for you, let me know in the comments below. I would love to hear about it. If this video helped you somehow already, make sure you let me know by smashing that like button down here. It also helps YouTube know what kind of content you're into, so it can actually suggest you relevant videos. If you want to see more outdoor content overall, make sure you subscribe to the channel, clicking my floating head here in the screen. And that's it for today. I'm Bernardo Merendino, and I'll see you here next time. Ciao!